again with another video. Today we're going to be showing you how to do the film glow effect. It's like a film glow filter that I've seen in like a bunch of music videos. I'm going to use some footage, some for scenery and then some with like portrait some people in. We're going to start off with a video that just has scenery and we're basically just going to duplicate it. You can color grade it if you want and then you duplicate it. I'm going to show you that method later. But yeah, you just get a video and then you duplicate it. So what we do, we add a blur to it. I add a Gaussian blur. Just add a layer on whatever software you're using. I'm using Davinci, but just add a layer and add some blur to it. And then you're gonna want to just blur out the highlights. This is basically how we get the effect to work. We just blur out the highlights and then we're gonna make the shadows darker and then we're gonna make the highlights more bright. So then we go into the curve and we just toggle things around to make sure that the highlights are higher and the shadows are darker. So as you can see, it changes quite a bit now. We're just going to toggle it to make sure that it doesn't look too crazy, but we do want it to be very much darker and very much brighter. We're going to change the mode, the viewing mode, the overlay mode. So don't worry about if it looks crazy dark or if it's crazy bright in some areas. If the image doesn't look good, don't worry about that. So as you can see, when you add that same layer on top of the previous layer and then you just change the composite mode and you change the opacity, you can see, no pun intended, the effects is coming into full effect. When we turn off and turn on the opacity and stuff, you can see that there's a bit of a glow. So this is basically it done. All you need to add now is just some film layer, like some film grain. There's a bunch of free film stocks online and I'll link that down below so you guys can go and get that too. So now we're going to use the second piece of footage that I have. This one has a person. I shot this for a brand the other week. So basically I'm just going to slow it down and then I'm going to want to color grade it and then I'm going to try and add the film filter effect. So yeah, so right now I'm just slowing it down so it looks a bit more dreamy. The whole film glow effect, I feel like it's a very like dreamy effect, so you're gonna want to make things slow. So right now I'm just color grading it so that it actually looks decent before I even start on the film glow effects. The other clip didn't even really need color grading, but this time I'm gonna color grade. So on the first layer I'm just changing the shadows and changing the highlights and stuff, making sure that we're good in that, and you can, as you see from the before and after, it's already made a change. So next I add another layer and I think on this layer I'm gonna change the saturation a bit, make it a bit more colorful. I'm looking at the hoodie. The hoodie's very blue, so I'm just gonna select that part of the image and just drag the saturation down. What this curve does is just lower the saturation of that certain color. So now I'm gonna add another layer. On this layer I'm just gonna add some like teal or some blue into the shadows, because like probably looks the best when there's some sort of teal or blue in the shadows, because I think that's what happens in real life. It just emulates the effect, and as you can see, like from the before and after, like it looks amazing from here. So yeah, you just need to just make it as realistic as possible. This just looks like it would actually be shot on a certain type of film. I don't know the different film textures, but yeah. So yeah, we're gonna do the same thing as we did before. Just copy and paste the clip and just put them on top of each other so they should be identical. And we're gonna go back into the effects. This one's a long one, but yeah, we're gonna add another layer and then we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna add a blur to it. I'm gonna make sure there's nothing around the edges, and you're gonna wanna fade in the whites so that the whites are kind of blurry but not too blurry such that like it creates like a sharp edge, because you want it to be really blurry. I think that's when the effect looks best, when it's like kind of blurry. So we're gonna do the same thing. Gonna make the highlights brighter and we're gonna make the shadows darker, as we did before. And yeah, we're gonna just toggle with the blur just to make sure it blurs. Don't worry if the image doesn't look good, because again we're gonna change it. So we're gonna change the modes to screen, and then yeah, as you can see, this is really bright, so I'm gonna want to like put it all the way down. The thing is, you don't want this to be like overbearing. You want it to be just right. I feel like this is the sweet spot, but just start from the bottom and then just work your way up, and hopefully you know, you can find some sort of a sweet spot where things start to get a bit blurry and a bit glowy, but like you don't want it to be crazy, like too crazy glowy. Obviously it's not gonna look as good as a real film, as a real deal, but you know, it's gonna come close. But yeah, that's the video. Thank you for watching. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We've just hit 100 subs, you know, thank you for everyone who subscribed. New videos weekly, and yeah.